Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining our industry update. My name is Xiomara Rodriguez, and I'm the Communications Director for Discover Puerto Rico. In today's webinar, Discover Puerto Rico's executive leadership team will walk you through the latest updates, strategies, and trends in research, marketing, and sales. After the presentation, we will have time for a Q&A. Please feel free to send your questions throughout the presentation by using the Q&A feature, which is the bubble labeled Q&A at the bottom of your screen. During today's industry update, you'll hear from our CEO, Brad Dean, Director of Research and Analytics, Alicia Valentine, Chief Marketing Officer, Leah Chandler, Chief Sales Officer, Ed Carey, and Director of Leisure Sales, Francisco Blanche. Now, to get things started, I'll leave you with Discover Puerto Rico CEO, Mr. Brad Dean.
Saludos from your DMO, Discover Puerto Rico. We appreciate you taking time today to join us, and we are very pleased to share with you an overview of our plans, actions, strategies, current market dynamics as together we work to grow tourism activity throughout our island. Recently, I attended a conference of destination marketing executives with nearly 400 leaders from throughout North America and Latin America. 17 times during that conference, I heard a speaker, a panelist, an attendee say, "When we get back to pre-pandemic levels," or something to that effect. And it reminded me of just how much progress that we've made together. Why in Puerto Rico, you and I don't even consider 2019 an accurate or helpful benchmark any longer, given the amazing results that we've achieved. After all, 2021 was our all-time record year. We broke those records in 2022, and so far, 2023 is off to an even better start. In fact, the most recent accommodations tax collections are 10% over the prior fiscal year. And that's clear evidence, along with record employment numbers, that we are continuing to lead the economic resurgence of Puerto Rico through tourism and outpacing the growth and recovery of most destinations in the U.S. mainland, as well as the Caribbean. Of course, just because our industry is performing so well does not mean that everyone is enjoying these great results. We know there are many businesses in Old San Juan who are heavily dependent upon the cruise sector, which of course is still in recovery mode. And we're often reminded of our friends and family in the southern and western regions who are still feeling the impacts of Hurricane Fiona many months later. But on those points, we have some good news to share. Finally, we've received the funds that we requested last year to help accelerate the recovery in the southern and western regions, and you'll hear more about that today. And we're working with partners like Seatrade, Cruise Line Industry Association, and Virtuoso to help accelerate the recovery of the cruise segment. And we'll touch on those plans in just a moment. So with all of the progress that's being made, your team at your DMO keeps asking ourselves one simple yet very profound question. How do we keep this progress going? We refuse to let this be our mountaintop, but rather a significant milestone on a journey of many more records to be achieved and much more progress to be sustained. One driving force for us is to continue to be diligent, visionary, and highly strategic in our efforts to strengthen and elevate the tourism brand of Puerto Rico. As you know, a key reason why the DMO was created was to deliver a strategic, consistent, research-based approach to our marketing and sales efforts. And the research tells us that's working quite well, both in established markets and emerging markets. And this bodes very well for us as we continue to reach unprecedented levels of brand familiarity and likelihood of travel. In fact, it sends a powerful message to our airline partners that Puerto Rico's appeal is broad, deep, and growing, a key consideration for airlines looking to expand service to any of our 3 commercial airports. You'll hear more about the success we're enjoying with our current brand positioning, including some stellar feedback from local residents and diaspora. Spoiler alert, we haven't even reached the 1-year anniversary of the Boricua, but already it's become quite popular with visitors, diaspora, and locals, as well as with strong support in every single facet of our creative media applications. Another strategic objective, which remains a top priority for us, is elevating the profile of Puerto Rico, both nationally and where possible internationally. Whether we're inserting our identity in popular television programs like The Drew Barrymore Show or the popular game show Jeopardy, presenting our brand at key global events like IPW or South by Southwest, welcoming record numbers of professional planners for site visits and destination reviews, or hosting marquee events that have never come to Puerto Rico, such as IGLTA, ASTA, Women in Travel Summit, and the Society of American Travel Writers. These are just a few of the tactics we're using in 2023 to push our brand and our island above and beyond our competition, and you'll hear more about these shortly. Another area of emphasis for us is to continue to innovate. One key tactic and core value that we look for when we're hiring our team members is a spirit of creativity and curiosity, and that's clearly having a positive impact on our efforts to promote your business and our brand. New partnerships with important industry players like Merit's Global Events and Hotel Bed's European Network open us up to valuable connections and first-time travelers. Attracting new events like the NCWA, our first ever National Collegiate Championship event, creates unique opportunities that pay huge dividends for our island. Partnering with powerful promoters like the Point Sky, Afar, and Lonely Planet provide new and exciting brand extension opportunities which set us apart from other island destinations. And reminding travelers that the rum capital of the world also offers outstanding craft beer and breweries expands our reach, as well as investing in social media networks like TikTok, which provide fresh new opportunities to inspire future travelers to consider Puerto Rico. You'll hear more about a lot of these tactics and strategies that we're using to strengthen our brand and broaden our reach from our team today. And you'll also hear of some recent findings that we haven't talked a lot about previously. While much of our focus is outward, telling the world what a great place Puerto Rico is to meet and to visit, we also know that we must be every bit as good at telling the local community about your DMO. Admittedly, that wasn't a priority for us early on, and unfortunately, we paid a hefty price for that. But we learned an important lesson. We simply cannot let others with hidden, self-serving agendas define our narrative. We must own that and do it ourselves. Over a year ago, we restructured our local communications and engagement team led by Edward Zayas, our Chief Strategy Officer. Edward and his small but mighty team have done a remarkable job at improving the depth, breadth, and responsiveness of our local engagement and communication efforts. And I'm pleased to say it's working quite well. We were thrilled and frankly humbled to see extraordinary improvements in local awareness as well as resident sentiment towards your DMO and our island's tourism industry in general. And on that point, I'd be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to say thank you to you, our island partners, who have remained steadfast in your support and advocacy of your DMO. Your efforts in promoting, affirming, and protecting Discover Puerto Rico are definitely working. As we approach the 5-year anniversary of Discover Puerto Rico, I'm encouraged and very optimistic to know that tourism is generating more jobs and tax revenues than ever before. Our brand is stronger and more appealing than ever before. And local residents are increasingly appreciative of our efforts, our results, our transparency, and our strategies. Indeed, there is much good news to share, and for that, we can all be thankful. Adelante Turismo, adelante Puerto Rico. It's now my pleasure to turn the presentation over to our Director of Research and Analytics, Alicia Valentine.
Thank you, Brad. As I was preparing for today's update, I happened to come across the material I presented at the update in April of 2020, our first as a webinar. And I think just looking at those numbers was re-traumatizing. It was really hard to find anything positive to say at that time 3 years ago, but we certainly have a very different story today. Every key metric that we monitor for performance shows significant year-over-year gains for the first quarter, including lodging revenue, air arrivals, and hotel and rental demand. Hotels and rentals generated more than $500 million in the first 3 months. That's 24% higher than a year ago, which is impressive given the record-setting year we had in 2022, but it's 78% higher than pre-pandemic. And as Brad mentioned, at a time when other destinations are just returning to 2019 demand levels. Total air arrivals into SJU for the first quarter are 21% higher than a year ago. And not only are we seeing more arrivals from key U.S. mainland markets that make up about 90% of our visitation, but in the first 3 months, we've also seen good year-over-year increases from Canada, Colombia, the UK, and Mexico. and increases in hotel and rental demand continue to align with arrivals. But not only is demand increasing, but so is supply. Compared to a year ago, there's 3% more hotel inventory and 29% more rental inventory. And I'm sure you're all familiar with how occupancy is calculated. It's an easy division of demand by supply. So an increase in supply, the occupancy percentage can decline, even as demand increases. And that is exactly what's happening in the Q2 booking pace for both hotels and rentals. For hotels, occupancy for the second quarter is currently 1.8% lower than the same time last year. But because supply has increased 2.8%, demand is actually higher. Similarly, for rentals, occupancy is lower, but because of significantly more supply, demand is actually higher. And we're able to confirm this by looking at advanced flight purchases and see that year over year, tickets from visitors, and this excludes any residents, are higher than a year ago. And Q3 is looking especially positive across all these metrics. And of course, year over year occupancy increases means significant increases in demands given that increase in supply. And while we aren't able to look at the hotel pace by region of the island, we are able to see how that increase in rental demand is being distributed. Overall, the rental pace for the next 2 quarters is booking 7% higher than a year ago, but that varies by region. The San Juan Metro makes up about 35% of the rental inventory and is booking about 11% higher than a year ago, while the East makes up 25% of the inventory and is booking 1% behind a year ago. But it is especially encouraging to see above average growth in the West and the South, where Discover Puerto Rico has focused messaging following Hurricane Fiona. Of course, this messaging is exclusively targeted to off-island consumers. I think you're all aware that Discover Puerto Rico only markets the island to consumers and meeting planners off-island, while the Puerto Rico Tourism Company continues to message it to residents for internal tourism. And though we aren't delivering a travel message to residents, they are obviously impacted by tourists, especially given the record-setting visitation we've been seeing. And with that, we wanted to understand what residents thought of the industry and how much they were aware of the work of Discover Puerto Rico as that organization charged with bringing visitors. So we worked with the local research firm, Gaither International, to conduct a resident sentiment survey. Through phone interviews and online surveys, they talked to over 500 residents about their perception of tourism. And the respondents were balanced by age and common geography to be representative of the population. But this wasn't the first time that we've talked to residents. We did so in early 2019 when Discover Puerto Rico was only months into inception, and again at the start of 2022 when the industry had seen such dramatic recovery coming out of COVID. And in those initial studies, less than 1 in 5 residents knew about Discover Puerto Rico. And that has more than doubled in the last year, with now more than a third of residents at least aware of the DMO. But just because more residents know about Discover Puerto Rico, that doesn't mean they know what we do. Last year, of the few that knew of the DMO, just half thought the organization positively impacted the island and local businesses. And less than that thought that there was diversity in the marketing, that there was collaboration, or that the DMO provided information to communities. But there's been significant gains in all of those measures in the past year, with 23-point gains for Discover Puerto Rico's positive impact on local businesses and providing information to communities and local stakeholders. And we've dedicated significant resources to making those connections and build the industry from community to community through the La Idea program and the digital gurus that have worked with individual properties and attractions to build the industry's online presence. And DMOs around the world take on resident sentiment research to understand the impact of the industry. And with this, Destinations International, the professional association for DMOs, provides benchmarks on a number of metrics included in this survey. And as you can see here, the national average on these industry ratings of how the local communities are impacted by tourism. Nearly 2/3 of residents nationally think tourism is good for their state, with slightly less than that perceiving the industry as good for their local community. And while residents don't feel they're consulted about tourism development, nor that public services improve because of tourism, more than half do believe that the benefits of tourism outweigh the negatives. But Puerto Ricans are far more positive about the industry, both in its overall benefit to the island as well as to local municipalities. The biggest difference between the national average and Puerto Rican resident ratings is that tourism encourages local investment in the economy. And there were many other attributes that was covered in this research. And while Discover Puerto Rico is charged with bringing visitors to the island, tourism exists not for the benefit of visitors, but for the benefit of residents. And the dollars that visitors bring are designed to make destinations a better place to live. And some of the biggest improvements were in ratings from a year ago were related to quality of life. Residents had an improved perception of tourism providing more places to enjoy, including dining and entertainment, and that tourism improved the infrastructure of the island. And the study also looked at what residents thought was important for tourism marketing and how Discover Puerto Rico was performing. And the most important components for residents was that tourism marketing should promote culture. The Live Boricua campaign was developed after many rounds of focus groups and surveys with consumers about what they want from a trip to Puerto Rico and what sets us apart from the competitive set. So it's encouraging that nearly 9 in 10 residents thought it was important that tourism marketing promote local culture. However, just over half think the marketing does this. Of course, Discover Puerto Rico doesn't place media locally, but we know we can continue to educate residents about the work that is drawing so many visitors here. But in addition to understanding resident perception around the industry generally, we wanted to understand how they felt about the Live Boricua campaign specifically. And in the development of the campaign in early 2022, we included resident focus groups and surveys. We heard that residents would embrace Discover Puerto Rico's use of Live Boricua, and they would be proud to share the history and culture of the island in that way. But now that the campaign's been in use for nearly a year, we really wanted to ensure that this was still a message that residents embraced. So we took on another project really focused on evaluating the marketing campaign with both residents and diaspora. We wanted to understand not only their feelings about Boricua generally, but their reaction to its use in tourism marketing. Both residents and diaspora were positive that Boricua, with residents more than diaspora, was positive about its inclusion and use in tourism marketing. And what's especially encouraging is that even more residents were positive about Boricua being used to promote tourism. 86% were positive about its use in tourism marketing, with another 11% neutral. And the survey showed specific creative components from Live Boricua, including 2 TV spots, 3 print ads, and a digital banner. And nearly 9 in 10 were positive about these executions, with less than 1% negative. In the resident sentiment survey, we saw that 86% of residents wanted tourism marketing to focus on culture. Here we see 87% are proud to share the culture with visitors, and that Live Boricua is embraced by residents. At our in-person industry update in February, I talked about the importance of culture on visitors' decisions to visit Puerto Rico. And in Discover Puerto Rico's 2022 visitor profile, we saw that after weather and scenic beauty, the top reason for visiting the island for leisure visitors was the local culture. And that for those who were exposed to that Live Boricua campaign, culture was even higher on their list of reasons for choosing to visit Puerto Rico. So this sharing of culture through the Live Boricua campaign is what is driving record demand. It's what's generating year-over-year increases in regions outside of the metro area. It's what's connecting visitors to local businesses. And it's what is improving investment and in quality of life. So I'm thrilled to turn it over to Chief Marketing Officer Leah Chandler to discuss what's next for Live Boricua.
Awesome. Thanks, Alicia. And not nearly as important as what Alicia just shared related to reaction of Live Boricua locally, but equally as fun and exciting is that we have won several awards recently related to the campaign. Actually, in February, we attended the 2022 HSMAI Adrian Awards, where the Live Boricua campaign brought home 4 awards in travel marketing. The Adrian Awards is a very prestigious award show that celebrates the best advertising and integrated campaigns in tourism and travel, and we could not be prouder of our team and all of the agencies who have contributed to this work. Our seasonal campaign supplement, Feel the Warmth, concluded its successful winter flight in March. We ran video spots with the goal of driving visitors to the island during high season and into Q1 and Q2. We also have 2 new print ads that were developed for the New York Times, highlighting the beauty and, of course, as Alicia mentioned, the culture of the island. And yet, after Hurricane Fiona, the DMO continues to prioritize support for the South and West regions to bolster those local regional economies. Our scope includes executing video and photo shoots where we've been capturing content for use across all of our channels. So all of these new assets are available to you, our partners, right now in Photo Shelter. As part of our Live Boricua consumer campaign, we've also been running digital billboards with the PGA that highlights golf on the island. And in March, multiple placements ran across Meetings Today, a publication targeting planners in North America. This included a full-page print ad, digital ads, and advertorial with spotlights on the Puerto Rico Convention Center and various hotels. So you can see how this full funnel campaign runs across all of the disciplines of the DMO. And we're preparing for another photo shoot to continue building out our library of assets with content featuring Puerto Rican beer product and experiences available to travelers. This will include imagery of local beer, bars, and breweries across the island. In paid media, our spot TV in select core markets and across those emerging ARP markets delivered close to 120 million impressions combined. Markets with spot TV showed a more efficient cost per website visit than non-spot TV markets. And OTT continues to deliver on par, pushing our messaging further down the consideration set, leveraging data signals for in-market travelers paired with persona-based behavioral components, which we've also seen a lot of success with. And we have a second burst of cinema media flighted in May, focusing on premiere weeks of blockbuster films like Guardians of the Galaxy and Fast X. We're also continuing our Reverie TV partnership via OTT leading up to and during Pride Month. On the digital side, in March, we launched a custom content partnership with Lonely Planet and The Point Sky, again, rooted in local culture. The program includes a social series, a homepage placement on lonelyplanet.com, and further content distribution on The Point Sky. And as you may remember, we recently launched Discover Puerto Rico's TikTok channel, paired with a paid campaign through the end of the month. And it's been really exciting to see this take off. To date, the campaign's performance has been really strong with over 4 million impressions and almost 80,000 engagements. This month, we'll also launch additional custom content partnerships with Outside and Nativo, targeting important audiences for the destination. And regarding our efforts to continue supporting the Southwest region post-Fiona, we're launching a 3-month paid media campaign in traditional and digital channels. So this is what Brad referenced earlier in the webinar. We're going to leverage OTT in services like Hulu and Peacock to increase awareness and familiarity with the South and West regions. The largest budget allocation is going to be placed in digital channels to drive those conversions and revenue to the regions. Aside from our tried and true tactics like paid search and social, we'll also activate custom content partnerships and first to market opportunities with Kayak, At Hotel, and TravelZoo. So here you can see just a sample of some of the campaign's digital banners. There are many, many more, but just giving you a taste here. And then on the next slide, you can see several of our social and native assets. And our website performance, we're excited to share, is off to a really great start in 2023. We've generated over 5.7 million page views so far, with over 400,000 of those being viewed in our Spanish language website. Our audience was super engaged, and discoverpuertorico.com provided our partners with more than 256,000 referrals or leads. Organic search continues to be our main driver and most important traffic source. Wellness as a topic we know is here to stay, and we're expanding our website offerings and content around this pillar. This includes 4 new wellness articles on our website, updates we've been making across the site, and a very exciting expansion into mocktails and the sober curious trend. The number of individuals we're reading who abstain from alcohol or limiting their consumption is growing, and we want to offer our destination as a really welcoming place for those travelers that complements our rum scene. And interestingly, the most searched mocktail recipe in the US in 2022 was actually the pina colada. We do continue evaluating and optimizing our region and municipality pages to ensure findability via all the search engines. And based on that latest usability survey, we know that 30% of users are seeking information on family-friendly activities when they're on our website. The interest in family and also multi-generational travel continues to boom. So looking at our travel trade, our team is evaluating, optimizing, and expanding the content and resources. We're actually in the process of adding 5 new pages in this sector. A new social media strategy was launched in 2023, January. We actually shared this in our February industry update and mentioned that we're going to be focusing a lot more on short form video content. Results so far show an increase in content engagements up 27% year over year, and net new followers are up 111% year over year. Each month in Q1 covered a different topic, from annual festivals to cacao and chocolate-centric experiences. Activations included the Sunshine Despair video series and a new episode of the Back to Our Roots video series dedicated to cacao production. A total of 32 short-form videos went live, and 34 municipalities have been highlighted. In March, the team highlighted on Wednesdays the inspiring stories of successful women in Puerto Rico's tourism industry, featuring 1 vice president, 2 owners, and even a rum master blender. The activation's content reached more than 122,000 users. And you've probably noticed we're taking a lot of steps right now to amplify beach safety, leaning a lot more into educational efforts, not scare tactics. Last fall, in fact, we published a landing page with Puerto Rico weather information that included a beach and water safety section. Recently, we've been expanding on that. We expanded that section to include educational videos from the NOAA and direct links to their rip currents forecast page. This page is also now available on our Spanish language site. We've also added a homepage component driving traffic to the weather information page and inserted a beach safety feature in our top 10 editorial pieces on beaches and water sports. Through our social channels, we've been sharing the beach safety information from PRTC and created a highlight on Instagram to make the most critical information very easily accessible to consumers. And next, what you're going to see from us is we'll be launching an educational campaign via social media featuring local experts on beach safety and rip currents. The campaign will include videos, infographics, a toolkit, and even a webinar for our local partners and more. Discover Puerto Rico is featured in the Fast Company list of the world's most innovative companies of 2023 in the travel and hospitality category. So I know we've already shared some of this information with you, but as a reminder, this is the first time this honor has been given to a US-based DMO and is going to be spotlighted in a profile feature in the Fast Company May issue. Fast Company recognizes organizations that are moving the world forward. Discover Puerto Rico was awarded this honor because of our innovative marketing efforts, specifically around Live Boricua. So this honor has also shined a spotlight on the record-breaking year in tourism last year with leading numbers in the travel, lodging, and employment sectors. We're really proud of that. Ketchum has also secured a number of recent features in top travel publications. So hopefully you're seeing this come through weekly. We've seen Condé Nast, Skift, and Thrillist pickups. These features highlight the island's unique culture and all of our stunning landscapes. And these are a result of our ongoing relationships with those media contacts. In honor of Valentine's Day and Galentine's Day, an episode of the Drew Barrymore Show hosted a giveaway for the ultimate Galentine's trip to Puerto Rico. We did that in partnership with TripAdvisor. It was a real feel-good human interest segment where Drew Barrymore and her surprise guest, Reese Witherspoon, presented the trip to Puerto Rico for an audience member. She cried lots of happy tears when she learned about the giveaway. The segment did air on CBS nationwide with an estimated audience of about 1.3 million viewers. And last month, another really cool opportunity brought to us from Ketchum, the word Boricua was featured on the hit quiz show Jeopardy as one of the daily double clues. The show is now in its 39th season and has more than 20 million weekly viewers. The feature of Boricua on the quiz show furthers Discover Puerto Rico's commitment to consumer education of the destination's culture and heritage following the Live Boricua campaign. So really cool to see us showing up in some of these pop culture moments. Earlier this month, Puerto Rican actor Luis Guzman from the hit show Wednesday visited the island. Guzman's team hosted a press conference with local media to discuss some of his favorite spots on the island, what his heritage means to him, and more. And while on the island, our team coordinated experiences for him during his stay, and then he utilized those in social media amplification. So he posted several stories on Instagram documenting his visit and shared his Boricua heritage with a lot of pride. And we're very excited to continue some work with him in the future for additional activations. Discover Puerto Rico also participated in South by Southwest and had a really impactful discussion on values-based marketing during what was a very coveted panel during the conference's first ever travel and tourism track. The panel discussion was on March 15th, and it featured a dialogue including this delicate balance of cultural appreciation versus cultural appropriation and the need to include local community into ideation and execution of marketing strategies, which Alicia talked a lot about earlier. From travel to marketing and business, topics ranged and fed into a really fruitful dialogue that drove interest in the destination. 9 media meetings and interviews were also held while we were there in Austin. It's a market that's currently targeted as an emerging market for the destination. And of course, we're thrilled to partner with Wonderful this year to host the Women in Travel Creator Summit, or WITS, as we've been calling it. WITS brings together content creators as well as our industry members and thought leaders to learn, collaborate, and really build a more equitable travel industry. The event's going to take place May 19th through the 21st, and they're being hosted at Caribe Hilton. As the host destination, Discover Puerto Rico is working with the WITS team to compile specialized itineraries and activities for media to experience the island. In the past, during their conferences, local partners in the host cities have provided special offers at restaurants and bars, museums, and other attractions. The goal really is for the destination to welcome media to the island and encourage them to experience Puerto Rico's offerings in their free time. These content creators post a lot about their experiences, including your businesses. So if you're interested in creating an offer, it should be valid from May 16th through the 23rd, and attendees can redeem the offer by showing their badge or a photo of it. So please reach out to us if you need more information. We're also sharing a lot of this information in our weekly industry email blast. IPW, many of you know, is the leading travel trade show with past IPW conferences generating more than $5.5 billion in future travel. Discover Puerto Rico will be in the thick of it. We'll be taking media meetings with around 20 top travel journalists. Brad's going to host a Discover Puerto Rico press conference highlighting new island experiences and offerings and sharing everything that's happening. Discover Puerto Rico is also showcasing Puerto Rican chefs in New York with partners Ronnie Rodriguez and Kathleen Squires, who are celebrated connoisseurs in the dining space with a renowned private dining club. So the DMO has been coordinating with Don Q to sponsor and keep island travel central to the conversation, while also highlighting the island's very rich rum culture. These dinners are really great ways for us to connect with media and share Puerto Rico's offerings with this key market. Of course, we know New York City is at the top of our list. Our Director of Partnership Marketing, Janine Ortiz, spoke at a panel at Sea Trade Cruise Global on marketing your destination, how to differentiate. The panel highlighted how new technologies like ChatGPT have a role in differentiating destinations and how they may be impacting those future marketing efforts. Additionally, of course, we partnered with the Puerto Rico Tourism Company and the destination exhibit at the event marketplace. And recently, Discover Puerto Rico and Ketchum co-hosted a public relations workshop. We did one in San Juan and one in Ponce, educating locals on how to maximize earned publicity to promote their businesses. Topics that were covered included effective PR 101 strategies, key reputation tools, and how to work with the media and influencers through really robust hands-on exercises. So thank you to all of those who participated in that. Brad mentioned Puerto Rico is the host destination for the International Gay and Lesbian Travel Association's 40th annual global conference in October, IGLTA. By hosting the conference, Puerto Rico is really cementing its commitment to inclusivity and to standing out in the Caribbean as a welcoming destination, a region not well known for that. Discover Puerto Rico is going to invite media to attend the conference and experience the island through pre and post FAM experiences. It's going to be a very robust week with that association on the island. The island's hosted a variety of media the last few months, highlighting the emerging beer culture, natural wonders, and empowering Boricua women who have helped shape the island. And as we look at what's ahead, our news engine team will be focusing on Earth Day, Mother's Day, summer travel, and Pride. FAM trips coming up include an ecotourism FAM, a Vieques luxury FAM, a coffee and sustainability FAM, and a diaspora influencer FAM. A lot of FAMs in the pipeline. Discover Puerto Rico has also had a really busy year so far internationally, with 7 international media FAMs taking place on the island. Both group and individual FAMs have included top-tier media, including Glamour, the Toronto Sun, and National Geographic Traveler Spain. From these 7 media FAMs, 21 pieces of top-tier coverage have already been published, with many more features still expected to be published in the near future. Over the last 2 months, the international teams have attended a number of key trade events in our core markets, specifically in the UK and in Spain. From these, we are seeing a lot of great results, including adding to product development in market and agent training by our team on Puerto Rico. Before the end of the fiscal year, we have a number of fantastic top-tier media visiting the island across our core international markets. Media outlets will explore areas such as Rincon, Isabela in the west, Ponce, and of course, some of our most popular attractions like Old San Juan and El Yunque. In celebration of exhibitions in Madrid and Seville that showcase Puerto Rico's strong cultural and historical ties to Spain, we're also going to be executing a cultural mission with the Secretary of State in attendance to really maximize our exposure from the island. And in the spring, we're also going to see 3 trade FAMs hosted on the island. Those are going to be for project managers from our core international market. So a lot of really exciting things still cranking on the international front. So a lot to share. Really excited to have you here today, so we can share this information with you. But I want to now turn it over to Ed Carey, our Chief Sales Officer, to share more on sales.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Leah. A lot of amazing things going on. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. we can go to our first slide. There we go. During the month of March, we continued to see a trend towards booking smaller, more short-term events in the meeting segment. And this is happening throughout the industry. One of the factors seems to be a reaction to increased costs. So we'll watch that very carefully. However, new leads generated in March are showing signs that the larger events could be making a comeback. While the lead volume was slightly down by 3%, the room nights associated with these events was up by 11. And our fiscal year-to-date lead volume remains well ahead of last year. The number of requested events is up by 38%, and room nights up by 22%. Definite bookings are 56% higher than this time last year, and room nights are up by nearly 20%. But we're really encouraged that site inspection activity is extremely robust. The number of site inspections from the beginning of the calendar year, January of this year to now, have been 68% higher and represent nearly 25,000 room nights, which is a 39% increase from the same period last year, and that's growing. And although we will participate in an additional 11 trade shows and road shows in market before the end of June, perhaps the most significant activity will occur on island. Nearly 250 meeting planners, buyers, and travel advisors have scheduled site inspections or will attend FAM trips in the coming months. And this includes some of our most important third-party strategic partners like HPM Global and Prestige Global Meeting Source. In fact, Prestige is also hosting their annual partners meeting at the Caribe Hilton this coming May. This is super important and timely because Prestige is currently working a pipeline of over 45,000 rooms for future years in Puerto Rico. And for 2023 already, Prestige has confirmed nearly 3,000 rooms with well over $750,000 in room revenue alone. And as you've heard, in a few short weeks, we will welcome over 800 travel professionals as the American Society of Travel Advisors hosts their annual global conference at our convention center. This is critically important as nearly every major travel consortium, cruise line, airline, rental car company, and even travel insurance providers will descend upon Puerto Rico for this prestigious event. As of today, we've scheduled 350 hosted experiences for travel advisors at some of our most popular venues during the actual days of the event. And on top of that, a total of 70 advisors specializing in segments like luxury, family, and adventure travel will participate in pre- and post-FAM trips. And just last week, we conducted a series of Zoom meetings to connect the advisors with our host hotels and get them excited for their visit. And all these FAMs will be leveraged through social media contests designed to reward advisors who post the most creative content with future stays in Puerto Rico. Looking forward, we're thrilled to announce a number of new partnerships that should benefit all of us. BCD Meetings and Events and Merit's Global Events are two of the most important meetings and events companies in the world. Merit's has reported that their most recent stats show that 2023 is their highest operating year in Puerto Rico since 2015, with almost 13,000 room nights expected so far this year and a strong pipeline of opportunities for the island, both short and long term. We've also implemented a partnership with Convention Planet, which is a popular sourcing platform that promises to deliver unique opportunities and complement what we do with the likes of Cvent and Hopskip. An exciting opportunity, we're working closely with a company called Cyberdyne to bring the experience of the Puerto Rico Convention Center and Distrito T-Mobile to life in an immersive virtual site inspection environment. A recent meeting planner survey conducted by Discover Puerto Rico and Meeting Planners International had suggested that roughly 68% of the meeting planners that were polled were very well aware of Puerto Rico as a travel destination, but had little awareness of the extensive meeting facilities at the convention center as well as our ability to operate significant multi-hotel events. The virtual reality goggles will allow us to demonstrate the magnitude of our facilities wherever we travel and engage meeting planners in a more innovative way than a standard PowerPoint presentation would. And before I turn it over to Francisco to update our leisure sales plans and progress, I wanted to share an invitation. Some of you may already have registered to the Sports Tourism Update, which will be presented by Carlos Deliz from Discover Puerto Rico at the Sheraton Puerto Rico tomorrow at 9 a.m. In 2022, the sports market led the way in booked business and generated nearly 29,000 room nights and over 17 million in economic impact. So please join us as we outline our results and projections for the coming year and learn about how we can attract world-class sporting events to Puerto Rico. And with that, I'll turn it over to Francisco.
Thank you, Ed, and good morning, everyone. In our Puerto Rico Travel Expert Program, we continue to see ongoing engagement leading to positive growth. This is a trend we've been observing now for 3 years without interruption. Between December and March, we have well over 700 additional advisors enrolled, of which close to 500 have already graduated on both modules. This leads to the loyalty program bookings, which continues to increase not only in members, but also in sales. The results of training leading to bookings is one of the most successful aspects of this effort, as it generates revenues through multiple leisure channels. When it comes to our booking pace, every month of the current fiscal year has surpassed the previous. At the close of February, we had already gone over the last fiscal year totals. And the trend continues in April, while May remains slow due to short booking windows, but June shows strengthening. Now, we closed the first quarter of the year, which is the third quarter of the fiscal year, surpassing the previous 3 years. March itself, with the exception of 2019 and 2020, has also resulted in a record month as we return to normal patterns. And notable is the fact that March of 2023 yielded higher returns than March of 2018. Virtuoso Connects is one of the events we attended this year as we remain active and present with our concerted activities as we are committed in our co-op agreements with several companies. In this slide, we see the coverage of Virtuoso Connects in New York and Washington. We also attended the Market Hub Europe with Hotel Beds. We were present before all of the key accounts that feed Hotel Beds bookings from all over Europe and participated in multiple activities, being present on the sustainability panel. Virtuoso at Sea was a key event for the cruise segment, feeding important bookings pre and post cruising. The advisors that attended were the top selling virtuosos in this important consortium. Also Sea Trade, where we continue supporting and participating in one of the most important events of the cruise industry, along with our colleagues from the Puerto Rico Tourism Company. We attended the Virtuoso Forum, which is an important event gathering key decision makers and owners of the top Virtuoso agencies from Latin America feeder markets. Also, supporting our ASTA colleagues, we participated in the recent Spring Affair. It's an annual meeting of the most important chapter of which ASTA Puerto Rico is affiliated to. We emphasized being hosts of the ASTA General Convention and participated in the general session and the trade show. And in this last slide, you can see we're highlighting all of our recent and immediate future activities. Thank you very much for your attention today. I leave you with Xiomara Rodriguez, Communications Director for Discover Puerto Rico.
Thank you, Francisco, and thank you to our executive leadership team for providing such great information. We will now move on into the Q&A section. Please use the Q&A box that is at the bottom of your screen to send your questions. I also want to remind you that this webinar is being recorded, and later this week you will receive a link to a recording so you can replay it at your convenience or share it with colleagues who were not able to join us today. After the webinar, if you have questions or need additional information, please message us at the email address on the screen and we will be happy to assist you. If you are not registered to our industry portal and you're not receiving our weekly newsletter or our weekly research dashboard, please head over to discoverpuertorico.com/industry and you can register there. If you need assistance with the sign-up process, please reach out to us and our digital team will be able to assist you. It looks like you've all have done a wonderful job today from our executive leadership team because we don't have any questions. So I want to thank you all for joining us and we'll see you on the next one.